Doesn't precisely pertain to health care, but I think it kind of coincides with it because it shows the mindset of some of the people we have representing us and is advising the president. There's a man by the name of Van Jones who supposedly the green jobs all now. He spent 2 years in prison after the Rodney King deal years ago. He was involved in some type of altercation, got arrested, went to prison. He became a communist while he was in prison, talking to some prisoners. Now he comes out of prison and he is an advisor and an ear to the President of the United States. And he's one of the ones, I'm sure, that he's advising the President on different things, possibly health care, I don't know. I just don't understand why we hear all his statements on the television and what he believes in and what he thinks. And I don't hear anybody like on the Republican side or any other senators opposing it at all. And it's scary to have people like that in the surrounding the president.
Well, Mike, first of all, I agree with you. The first thing I'd say, I think all these so-called CZARS positions are absolutely, categorically unconstitutional. Advisor to the president, cabinet secretaries, even a few levels down, sub-cabinet level appointees, are supposed to come before the U.S. Senate for confirmation. This is a complete end run around it. That's just the most obvious reason it's unconstitutional. And I'm pushing, saying we can't allow this and we can't have this, but quite frankly, I'll push, other conservatives will push, but until a majority in the U.S. Senate says something and stands up about it, it's not going to change. Right. Certainly I'm working toward that, but we need the sort of majority in the Senate that will stand up to
that. Daniel Wenton, I'm 15 years old, I live in Denham Springs. The president's, one of his czars, I can't remember his name, in the 1970s he wrote a book about population control and forced sterilization of the population. Do you think that this health care bill would lead eventually, but not now, later, would it lead to government telling people they had to get abortions for population control, forced sterilizations, or anything like that?
Daniel, first of all, you're right. The person you're talking about is the president's top science advisor, Dr. Poulter, and he's made in his career all sorts of outrageous statements, including ones like you're describing. So there's plenty of reason to be concerned. Now, will the plan lead to that? I don't have a crystal ball, but clearly it's leading down a path that would certainly involve taxpayer funding of abortions, certainly involve physicians and others losing their conscience protections, etc. So it's certainly not far-fetched to have that concern down the line. I agree with you.
I think it has to be. If you look, actually his co-author to his book was a guy by the name of Ehrlich, who wrote The Population Bomb back in the 1970s before co-authoring this book. That book was used to create the agency within the United Nations that promotes the idea of population control. Their agenda has led to forced sterilizations in foreign countries like China, where they have a one-child policy. That clearly is the influence of authors who put these crazy ideas out there and are embraced by liberal politicians. I have no doubt that this plan would ultimately lead to something like that.
Wow.